Hi there, it's Kathy Howes with Be Creative with Kathy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I like to do tutorials or card videos here on Facebook Live, and then I'll go and put it onto YouTube. So um, that's who I am, so you know. And today I have a cute card for you. It's part of my stamp club, and we're going to be using the Pick of the Patch bundle, which is a punch bundle, and we're going to use the Trucking Along, which is a punch bundle too. Now, excuse me, today's card is the third card of my stamp club. So you know, stamp club, we meet monthly on Zoom and we make two cards together, but the stamp club includes three cards. The third one I make for you. So I was getting ready to finish up my cards and I thought I might as well go ahead and do a video to show how cute that these two bundles work together and finish up for my club. So let me show you first of all my stamp clubs. We decided in Stamp Club that we were going to use the Trucking Along bundle, which is all available now. You can get the punch and the stamp set, which the punch was on back, well, not even on back, it was not, do not, can't, unavailable. That's what it was. Duh. Okay, so let me show you last month's cards. That would be September. And did I say we decided we're going to use the stamp or the Trucking Along bundle for September, October, and November? So these are the two cards that we made together. And then this was the card that I sent in the packet already made. This one is a slider card. So look, that little truck goes back and forth, which is kind of cute. And we learned how to mask and stamp those packages on that truck. So those were September's cards. Let me give you a sneak peek of October's cards. So we're going to do this card here that has the little trailer, the truck trailer. That'll be what I show them this time. We're going to do a spanner card that looks like this. I do like the spanner cards. I think it's fun because it's like tells a story and keeps going, and all the little fish and there you go. And then the third card for October is what I'm going to make next, and I'll show you that one in just a little bit. Let me show you a couple other cards that I've been playing with that little truck. This is how the card from Camp started. Was a simple card, just a open up normal card like that. I tried it in a couple different colors, which are cute but didn't seem to make the cut. But just different ways to put that spanner card together. Thought those were cute. And then let me show you just a couple other cards. There's this card. I cased this. I think it was from Terry Gaines. So if you see a card in my mitts here that I have cased, I do a lot of casing. I'm not very artistic, but I'm pretty crafty. So I like to case other people's ideas, and I think that's a compliment. But look how cute that card is. Simple and cute that card is. And then if you're like here on my Facebook, you saw that I posted this one yesterday and asked for some help as to how I could fix it up. And I understood from the comments that I needed a little moon on there. So I took just that little punch from the truck here, the tire punch, and I added a little moon and some lemon lolly. And then I did use the lemon lolly marker and colored in behind the house, gave it some color, and then I added a couple of ghosts in the back of my truck. And now I think my card is complete, and I think it looks really good. So you could go back to my Facebook post and see what the card looked like before. All right, let's go on and go to today's card. So as normal, like I said, I'm not very artistic, but I'm pretty crafty. This is the first attempt at the card that I'm going to make today. And I wasn't really happy with it. I mean, it's okay, but it missed some stuff. And so I'm going to tweak it today and show you what I'm going to do different. The first thing is I didn't like the red truck. So I went to my color coach. Now, if you don't have a color coach, if you're a demonstrator, you can go on Stampin' Up's website and print out all these sheets here, cut them apart, attach them to the same color cardstock as on the name, and then put it together just like I did. Now, usually I have color coaches available for sale on my blog, becreativewithkathy.com, is where you'll find all of the measurements for my card and the supply list of what I use on my card. But right now, my color coaches have sold out. So I'm hoping that next week they'll be back. So, well, they will be back. I'm hoping next week I can get some made. Sorry, I saw squirrel, not really, but I got distracted. But I went to my color coach and I looked up the two colors in my card. So pumpkin pie is one of the colors, and old olive. So I went back here to old olive and I looked, and those colors, nope, that wasn't what I had in mind. So then I went to pumpkin pie here, and I decided that the Tahitian Tide is the color that I wanted of my truck. Although I wanted to tone it down a little bit, Tahitian Tide is a really bright in color, and so I decided to go with Azure Afternoon. Now that's one of those new colors from the new color collection, and so I decided to do it the blue. And then as I worked my way around and kind of played a little bit with my card, and then I came up, I think this one is my favorite. This is the final. For some reason, I like the bird on the tree. But then as you make your card, maybe you like the bird down here on the ground, maybe you like the bird on the pumpkin. There's all different ways you can do your card. But let me go ahead and show you how I made this card. And like I said, I made a bunch of them because they're all for club. They're probably all different, but I'll show you. I think that this video will give you tips and tricks if you have to make multiple cards. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to show you is some cutting, I guess, what we did. So normally when you have your card base, it's a half a sheet of cardstock, right? 8.5 by 11, scored at 4 1/4, and it's just a half a sheet of cardstock. And then the next layer is a fourth of a sheet of cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4, that layers right on there just perfect. And you get 4 out of a sheet of cardstock, and you're all good to go. But on this card, I needed this layer here, and I needed this layer here. Now, since I was making multiples of them, I wanted to get as much out of my cardstock as I can. So this black piece here, I measured. First of all, I cut them out with let me see what they're called, the Deckle rectangle dies. But I needed a piece that was about 4.5 by 3.5. So normally you would take your cardstock and you would put the 11-inch at the top, and you would cut it down to 5 1/4. But since we only need 4.5, I'm going to put the 8.5 at the top, and I'm going to cut it at 4.5 here. Hope you can see that. Let me try to get in the screen. That's close enough. You see what I'm talking about though, right? So I'm going to put it at 4.5, and I'm going to cut it this way. And then I could cut this into 3 pieces that are 3 1/4. And then this piece I could cut into 4.5 and 4.5 and 3 1/4. And then that way you get actually 5 pieces of cardstock, or 5, the right size cardstock, out of one sheet instead of the 4. Now, since I'm only going to make 2 cards today, I'm going to cut this down, that slender piece, I guess you'd call it, to the right size. I'm going to cut it down to 3 1/4. Although really, I wouldn't have to, because I'm going to just use the dies. I'm going to cut it down to 4.5 and then 4.5. I hope that makes sense. That's just an easy way to kind of save cardstock when you're making a bunch of cards. So now I have the 2 pieces that are about the right size, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in my die cut machine. Now the other cool thing about making multiple cards, and when you're using the Deckle dies like this, and really I use these 3 times. Let's see if I can get them out. Let me put my machine again. I would have got ahead of myself. So the Deckle dies, they look like this. Look at all those dies that come in that one set, and you can cut 2 at a time. So when you're making something with these outline kind of dies, you can run 2 sheets of cardstock through at a time. Now I'm going to use the 3rd to the largest for my black piece and the 4th to the largest for my white here. And then I'm going to use the smallest for my greeting here. Now, since I cut those 2 just to save time, but I wanted to show you how to cut the black paper, I'm going to go ahead and run both pieces through my die cut machine. So bring him back in, and I have my plates here. I'm going to start with my platform, and then my adapter. I don't know if you can see that or not. My cutting plate that's all chewed up. I like to keep him on the bottom. And then I'll put my cardstock down, my die down. Now remember, I have 2 pieces here, and then I'll lay my die on there. Whew, I cut that one almost, well, right where I need it, huh? And then lay it down like that, and then we'll run that through. And look how nice when you have, like I said, those outline dies like that to run it through your die cut machine and cut both pieces through with absolutely no problems there. All right, I hope that helps when you're making multiple cards. That's just a quick trick there. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces cut. So like I said, I have a pumpkin pie card base. I have a basic gray mat, which is 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have my 2 deckled pieces here that lay together nicely. And then I have my tag or my greeting up at the top. And then for the inside, I do just have 2 pieces of basic white that are 5 1/4 by 4 for the inside. Okay, and then I do have some scraps in white that we're going to stamp the truck and the pumpkins on. But let's start with this piece here. So this, like I said, is basic gray. I want to put this, oh, now I forgot the name of what that is. Doggone it. Oh, well, it's this. And it's part of these masks. Now, let me show you when I'm doing multiple cards. I got this thing, I think it's called a cutting sheet, a cutting pad from Dollar Tree. I just took my mask here and I taped using some painter's tape so I can take it off when I'm done, and tape the side of my mask to that cutting pad. The cutting sheet, I don't know, like I said, I found it at the Dollar Tree. It's just a sheet of plastic. And then I'm going to take some of these little Post-it notes here, and I'm going to put what I'm going to call handles here on the side. This is going to keep my fingers from getting too dark and inky, because we all know that's what happens when you stamp. And they're also going to be handles so I can pick up my mask to put the next sheet in there. If I get the sticky in the right place, it might help hold my mask down too. Now, if you do classes or if you have multiple people stamping with you, this is a great way to set up your mask. So then you can just pass it around the table. You lift up your mask like this. You set your cardstock down. Oop, wait, one more thing. On the inside here, I'm going to take some of that removable adhesive. Now, I get this on Amazon. You could also probably use just some regular adhesive, but I like the removable adhesive just so it doesn't ruin my cardstock. So I'm going to just set that, or I'm going to run that right here along my plastic, lay my cardstock on there. That's going to hold it in place, and then lay that down. Bring in some black ink. I'm going to use Memento Black and a blending brush like this. Now, when I ink up my whatever this is called, my blending brush, I'm not going to be too particular. Now, the inside, I really don't care about at all, because most of it's going to be covered up with the focal point of my card, which let me bring back in so you can see. But I can hold my mask here with the masking tape and just get these edges. My cardstock isn't moving because I taped it down to that Dollar Tree mat. I'm going to use my Post-it notes here to keep my fingers clean and to hold that mat down there and at the sides. And then the best thing about this is you can lift that up, your paper doesn't move, to see if you've got a good coating on there. Now, I don't want it perfect. I think that looks really good. Remember, I'm not worried about the center because we're going to cover that up anyway. So I would just take that off. No, not much adhesive on the back of my cardstock. Most of it stuck here. So then I can just stick that next one down, or you can pass it to the next person. They can put theirs down and put that in there, and then do the same thing again. I think this is the best way to use this mask. And now that I've discovered it, I think the mask, let my ink help here, might be even faster than those background stamps, because it used to be, to me, in my eyes, that the mask was slower trying to, get it where you want it, get it taped down, all that stuff. But now, look how fast that little mask is to use on your cardstock. Yeah, right? So then I would just take this and rinse it off in the sink. And this you could probably wipe down with a baby wipe, or you could take that to the sink and rinse it off too. And then you just put it back in the container, and then you're good to go. Easy peasy, I think. Okay, so let's go to the next step. We got that one done. Let's do some stamping now. I'm going to put this away and bring in those little pieces of white. that we cut from the decorative rectangles, the inside of our card, and then those. Let's start with these pieces here. Oop, and then I might as well bring in my scrap. So I have a scrap here. This is about 1.5 inches wide, and I don't know how long it is. We're going to cut it down, or really we're going to punch it down to where it needs to be. Now, since my stamp sets are photopolymer, I'm going to bring in my Pierce mat so I have a nice cushion on there. And let's start with this big pumpkin right here and some pumpkin pie ink. So with the punch being the way that the punch is laid out, I want my big pumpkin. Let's go on this piece first. Come on, Kathy, focus. There we go. My big pumpkin here to be stamped, what I'm going to call is up and down. So I'm going to take him like this, and I'm going to make sure he's inked up really good. Let me show you another tip here. So on my first card, if I can find it here, if you notice, my pumpkins are really pale, and so is my stems. So if you have trouble like that getting a good inked image, all you have to do is re-ink your ink pad. Don't fight with it. Don't try to, put a lot of pressure on there. Just add some ink. It doesn't take very much, and it makes the world of difference. Look how pretty and vibrant my pumpkin is now. So while I have that one, this is the one we're going to punch out. This is the inside of my card. I'm going to just go ahead and stamp a pumpkin right here on the inside. And you notice I take a second, let that ink sink in to my cardstock so I get a good image. Okay, we only need one of that size pumpkin. So I'm going to come in with the next pumpkin. Now this pumpkin with the punch the way it is needs to go, let's bring this back in, sideways. So I'm going to put this pumpkin, and let me make sure, nope, it needs to go in this way. And I hope that I got it right. But you need to look at the back of your punch to see which way your pumpkins need to go in there, if that makes sense. So now I have my pumpkins all ready. Let's go ahead and keep with this scrap of paper. I'm going to bring in that truck stamp and that Memento black ink again. We'll have to bring the pumpkin pie back in, but I'm going to do all my stamping on this one scrap for now. Okay, so we have our truck, and I inked him up pretty good. We're going to stamp him, and I'm going to give him a little bit of room just in case there's pieces and parts of the punch and of the pumpkin. There we go. And then he needs some tires on there, and these are just images from that same Trucking Along stamp set. I might get my head in the camera here because I want to line those little dots on the inside of the, I think they're, no, they wouldn't be the hubcaps, whatever. The little dots on the inside of the tire, I'm going to line them up with my stamp and then stamp that down. I think that one, although I didn't do perfect, but lines up pretty easy. And then, like we talked about before, I want to stamp my truck in that Azure Afternoon. So I'm going to bring in the solid image. I'm going to line up, I like to line up this little back window and those places or those triangles above the tire. That's how I line up my truck to get it where I want it to go. And then look how cute that is. Whew, okay, well, one more thing I want to stamp on here is that little pumpkin that's going to go in the back of my truck. So I'm bringing that pumpkin pie back in, and I'm going to just stamp. Oh, and you know what just dawned on me? I was going to make 2 cards, and now I've stamped one of everything. So never mind. We're going to just make 1 card. Okay. Let's punch these out, and then we'll go to the next side. There's a lot of punching with the cards today. So with that pumpkin punch, right, we're going to go ahead, and I punched it wrong. I'll fix it. Hold on. So we're going to go ahead and punch my truck. I didn't punch it wrong. I stamped it wrong, which figures because I should have practiced a little more in that way. But you'll get the gist. So when you do your pumpkins, when I punched it or did a bunch of them, I did the same punch of the same pumpkin along my strip of paper, and then you just put him in. And really, I stamped him upside down. You'd put him in like this, and then you could just go along and punch him like that. Did that make sense? Yeah. So then this pumpkin, I would do the same thing. I would stamp him all along here, and then you can put him in there and then just punch him along. Now, since I punched him the wrong pumpkin first, I'm going to go ahead and cut him apart, maybe with my paper snips. Now you'll get another tip. And let's punch him first. Get it lined up. There we go. And then when you have a little piece of cardstock like this, I suggest you get Post-it notes or something in a strip like this. You can take this and hang on to it like a handle. And then when you put that little piece in your punch, you have something to hang on to when you make a mistake like I did and punch your pumpkins wrong. And then you have a little pumpkin like this. We'll just remove that Post-it note off the back there. And now we have two of our little pumpkins. This third little pumpkin, there's no punch. We're just going to fussy cut him really quick. And it doesn't take long because it's a circle. I suggest you keep your scissors and just rotate that paper, working usually with a smaller piece of paper. That piece was too big. And you just rotate that little pumpkin like that. And then that little pumpkin doesn't take long to punch out at all. Okay, let's do a couple stems and some leaves. So you know all those scraps, when you cut the inside of your card and you have these half-inch pieces left, those are the best for your stems. So with a little bit of Old Olive ink, freshly re-inked, so it should be vibrant and bright, I'm going to first check my punch, and the wider side of the stem is going to go to the right. So making sure, I'm going to stamp it like here, and I should be using my Pierce mat, but looks to be going okay. I need 1, 2, 3, 4 little stems, just like that. And then the good thing about this is if you did stamp it the wrong way, you'd turn it around, it wouldn't make any difference in your punch. But I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to just punch out all 4 of those little stems. Just like that. Now for our little leaf, last thing I think we need here, punch wise, I have a piece of scrap here. I thought yep, here we go. I think this is, no, maybe I don't. I thought I had a piece of scrap paper that was 3/4 of an inch. I do. Look, here he is right here. And now the 3/4 of an inch works good because it's tall enough for the little leaf, but yet the other pumpkins on the punch won't cut into your paper. See, we're going to cut this little leaf way down here. So at the bottom of my cardstock, I'm going to stamp my little leaf here. And again, where's my Pierce mat? But I just re-inked my, I only needed 1. Bad habit. Okay, there we go. So now we have our little leaf here. Oh, shoot. And I forgot to stamp the inside of my card with that stem. We'll have to bring him back in too. But then you can just take and punch your little leaf. And since I punched at the bottom, the pumpkins don't interfere, and you can get those lots of little leaves out of there too. Okay, let's bring in the inside and finish that pumpkin up. The inside of my card. Where did my inside? Here it is. I only stamped 1 of the insides too, so we'll just do 1 inside or 1 card today. I was going to make 2. I'll have to go after the video and finish up the other card. Okay, bring that stem back in, and I'm going to just punch right at the top like that. Look how cute that is. And then we need a little bird in there. So some of that black ink from Memento again. And here, this is a little tip here. The first time you ink up especially in Memento ink, because this is a felt pad to where the other ones are foam pads. I'm going to ink up my bird good, and then I'm going to stamp him here, because the second inking, I think, usually turns out better than the first. And because my little bird is black, he's going to stamp nicely right over my pumpkin here. And then we have that little black bird. Now, I think the little black bird needs a yellow beak, so I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Write marker. This is Lemon Lolly, and if you wonder why I use Lemon Lolly, because this is the new style markers. Now, Stampin' Up! Has just refreshed their markers, and I love the new styles. I love the bullet tip here, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I see a difference in the paintbrush tip here. Now, slowly but surely, I'm replacing all my old style markers with new ones, but right now I have the new collection. You can buy, I think it's 11 markers in a collection that gets you a good start. So I'm going to just color his little beak right there. Alrighty. Now, I think, nope, we need to do one more, well, a few more Stampin' stuff here. This is the tag. I'm going to bring in that Memento again, and from that stamp set, you're the pick of the patch, and I'm going to just stamp that on that crumb cake piece here. Let that ink sink in, and I should have done like I do with the bird, but it turned out okay. I should have stamped it on the paper first so I get a good inking on that one. Oh well, what's done is done. Alrighty, now let's set our little scene. We're going to bring in that deckled cut basic white, and one of my favorite Stampin' Up! Colors, if I can find it here. Here it is. Some of that early espresso ink. I think this is the best ink color ever, although I probably say that about a bunch of them. Now, with the little tree that's in the stamp set, let me show you the stamp set here. This little tree here, I'm going to stamp it over here as tall as I can, because the bottom of this is probably going to be covered with a pumpkin, so if it doesn't quite touch the bottom, I'm okay with that. And then I'm going to stamp this tree over here closer to the bottom. And then you can't have two, so let's do three. And I'm going to just stamp another one right here. So we kind of have the background of our scene set up. And then we need a little road on there. So with this, back to this stamp set, this little, I guess you'd call road right here, I'm going to stamp this just along the bottom. Let me bring that scrap so I don't get any ink on my foam pad here. And I'm actually going to stamp this 3 high. I'm going to turn it this way. Then I'm going to stamp in the center. And this doesn't have to be perfect. It's not a focal point. Probably won't even be noticed by most of the people that receive your card. So I'm not going to worry about being too perfect or precise, or I'm going to just slap some road there onto my cardstock. Then, to give that a little bit of more color, I'm going to bring in some crumb cake ink. I want it to look kind of like a dusty road, and a blending brush. And then with just a little bit of color here, I'm going to just swipe across there. I'm not going to worry about a lot of color. Like I said, I just want it to be a dusty road right here on the bottom of my cardstock. Looks like that. Now, let me look around and see. First, I have a huge mess, but let me see if I've done all my stamping. Here's my card sample again. So I have my black layer here and this here. I have my background. I have my truck. I have one. Let's see if I lost all my stems. Nope, here's 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 pumpkins. Oh, I need another pumpkin. Shoot, real quick, let's bring in one more time. We need another pumpkin. Brother. Can remember we want to stamp him sideways because that's how he goes into the punch. Stamp him like that. Real quick, punch him out. This might be one of the longest videos I've ever made. I try to keep my videos short and sweet, but this one there's a lot in detail. So really, when I decided to make this card, I should have thought again, it's a lot for a swapper when you're doing multiple cards. Usually I like quick and simple. Let's go back and make sure. Now, do I have all my pieces? I believe I do, so let's start some assembling. We're going to bring in our card base, which again I said was that paper or pumpkin pie. I did mention earlier, but if you weren't here yet, all the supplies and measurements will be on my blog, BeCreativeWithKathy.com. We're going to take the inside. Now, I left the inside with no greeting because I thought some of us aren't too enthused about Halloween. This way you could do a thinking of you or just wanted to say hi. Or if you are into Halloween, you could stamp a little Happy Halloween on the card when you get it. Then I'm going to bring in this piece that we did with the mask to give it some character and put this. Now I want my houndstooth. I think that's what those are called. It came to me just now. I want them to be pointing up this way for some reason. So I'm going to lay that down right there. I'm going to put my white piece and attach it to my black frame here of my deckled pieces. Now, I have a feeling that these probably go together in a certain direction, so they're the same. I've never paid attention, and it's always worked out, so I'm going to just put them like that. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of my piece here. And I have standard dimensionals. I'm going to bring in some mini dimensionals because we'll need those to apply the pumpkins and other things on my card. Maybe not the pumpkins, but anyway, I like 5 dimensionals. I like one in the center so that our tummy of our card doesn't sag. Put it like that. And then I'm going to just center this on the front of our card. Nice. So far, so good, huh? So now with my pumpkins, I'm going to take the biggest pumpkin first, and I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive with my tape runner right there along the top. I don't know if you could see it or not. And then I'm going to attach my little, my pumpkin stem has something hanging off there. And I liked my pumpkin stems behind. Now on one of my cards, and let me show you the difference so you can decide and even comment. I probably can't find it. I have way too many cards here. Nope, I can't find the card where I put the pumpkin stems in the front, and then that way, let's see if we can find it here through all my cards. Nope, maybe it's not here. There it is. If you like the pumpkin stems in the front, it would look like that. I decide I liked them better on the back. Then I'm going to take a dimensional, and I'm going to take both coverings off, front and back, and I'm going to tuck it here under this corner here. So now the adhesive where I put my stem on is going to hold the top, and that little dimensional there is going to hold the bottom of my pumpkin. Then with some liquid glue, I'm going to put a little blob right here, maybe, on my pumpkin, and I'm going to just let it sit there and dry while I finish the rest of my card so it doesn't gush when I put my leaf down. Again, the same thing. I'm going to take both back and front off of that dimensional, and I'm going to slide my card across the room. I'm going to tuck it under here. I'm going to do the same thing with this pumpkin, a little bit of adhesive up here at the top, all the way across, add a stem, and then lay that pumpkin right there on top of that one. And one more time, because we need a pumpkin over here in the corner. Oops, I forgot to take the back off, or the front off of that one. We're going to slide this under there. Take this pumpkin. Now, I'm sure there's several more ways to make your pumpkins, put them together and attach them. This is just how I did it because I thought that's what was easiest. Looks like my glue is dry enough now, so it's not going to gush when I take that little leaf, and I'm going to set it right here on my biggest pumpkin just to add some more color. On the back of my truck and on the back of my little pumpkin here with my last stem, Make sure that my pumpkin, the top yap, is up there, and my stem sitting right there. I'm going to go ahead and take my truck with some dimensionals, and I'm going to hold that little pumpkin stem onto that little pumpkin with a dimensional. Let's take those backs off and add the truck to the card right here along my road. And the same thing with that little pumpkin. I'm going to just slip it into the back of the truck here. Cute. Now with the edge of my dimensionals, you know when you have your dimension like this, you used them all up. I'm going to use the edge here of my dimensionals, and I'm going to cut about 3 of those little, I don't know, I call them points. And I'm going to set this toward the top here of my deckled rectangle. Take that back off. And then I'm going to put some adhesive on the bottom of my greeting here. This is going to hold it to the bottom. And then I'm going to get an edge here that's about the same border as the orange and gray. I think it looked best like that. And then there, look how cute that is. Now, the only thing, as you can see, missing from my card is that last little bird right here. So what I did was I used my Brother Scan and Cut. I stamped a bunch of birds, and then I just let my Brother Scan and Cut them all out. So now whenever I need a card, I would just punch all these out, or really not punch them out, just separate them and put them in my stamp case. I'm going to use that same Lemon Lolly marker, color his beak too. Although on the first card, I fussy cut him and he was fine. And now if you're wondering, you know, Kathy, why didn't you put all your pumpkins on there and just let them, your Brother Scan and Cut them out? He won't, because of the white stripe through the pumpkins. And there's a punch, so it wasn't too hard. So then I'm going to take those mini dimensionals and I'm going to put one on his tail and then one on his back. And then set that right there. Do I have them both off? Nope, this one's not off. There he goes. And just set that up there on the tree. And that kind of fills out that naked area of my card right there. Okay, open. I already did put the inside. I didn't think I did. So there's my card. And I know it took a long time. Thanks for hanging with me. But there you go. I hope I did give you some tricks and tips. Hope I didn't confuse you too much with my crazy sporadic ways. But there you go. Now, before you leave, I have a couple things I want to tell you about Stampin' Up. If you don't already know, Stampin' Up has free shipping for today, tomorrow, and the next day. So all orders $75 or more. Here in the U.S., Canada, I think, is different. But you can get free shipping on orders of $75 or more. But if you're going to place a $75 order, you may as well take advantage of the starter kit, which is either $35 off or 35% more or 35% off. And I said that backwards. 35% off your starter kits, which means you'd only pay $64.35 and you'd still get the $125 worth of product. You still get free shipping. You only have to pay for tax. And you get a paper pumpkin and all your business supplies in there. Now, if you decide to do the 35 more, you still pay the $99, but you get $168.75 in your starter kit, which is an amazing deal, I think. And if you have a demonstrator, I'm sure she would love you to have you on her team. If you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to have you on my team. The other thing I want to warn you about is tomorrow is the last day to sign up for Paper Pumpkin. And October and November, I think, are the best Paper Pumpkin kits of the year because they're the holiday kits and the two of them go together. And in October's Paper Pumpkin, you get a free glitter glue, which I'm excited to see exactly what that is. Alrighty, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you make some cards like this and if you have some tricks or tips that would help me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye.